United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Going to start with the reading of the disclaimer. Okay, let me just put the volume up a little here. Okay, reading the disclaimer for remote participation, virtual meeting. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 18, Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This public meeting of the Lawrence Licensing Board is being conducted via remote participation. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so only during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment. Members of the public may address the board during the public participation portion of this meeting via phone, video, or by typing a message to members of the board or city staff. Until acknowledged by the board, all members of the public must mute or silence their device. I'm going to start with a roll call. Commissioners here. Commissioner Darwin,
Present.
Commissioner Potter. Okay, and we don't have Commissioner Potter on here, and I am present, Chair Hector Santiago. Okay, approval for the minutes of the July 22nd, 2020 meeting. Commissioner Darwin, have you been able to go over those?
Yes, I have. I will make a motion to approve those minutes.
Okay, and I'll second that. I'm going to do a roll call of a motion to approve. Actually, let's take a count on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, roll call. Commissioner Darwin,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. We're going to move on to old business. We're going to move on to old business. Spigot River Brewery, 56 Island Street. This license was approved at the last meeting in error. The license held a 19C farmer brewer cannot hold a Section 12 license for serving wine and malt. Applicant is seeking the reversal of approval for the record. Applicant is currently seeking a refund of the application fee. What's your favor on this, Commissioner Darwin? Actually, what do we got on here? Just want to
This-
view.
Joe from Spigot River Brewery here.
Okay.
So we may explore the 19D, but for right now, I think what we would like to do is proceed with removing this request and or reversing the license and refunding, please.
Okay. We've already discussed this at one meeting prior to, there wasn't a legal meeting. So I'm gonna move this to make this in the form of motion to rescind this request and reimburse the applicant the application fees. So that's a form of motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
Yes.
and I as a chair vote yes. Yeah, I just have to mute somebody on here. Got a couple of people I need to mute, that's all. If you just bear with me. Okay, so roll call, Commissioner Darwin again,
Yes.
and I as the chair vote yes. So, who is it, Mr. Joe? You'll be, that got approved by us as a withdrawal, and you can get your reimbursement back for that application fee.
Thank you so much. This is Joe Erico, and I appreciate the patience from the members of the board, and we'll hopefully get this back on track at some point.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, new business. New application for wine and malt package store. Applicant is Anelli Mercado, Me Bunny Market located at 119 Jackson Street. There was a W&M package store at this address recently. That license was transferred to Castillo Enterprises and moved to 217 Lawrence Street. This application was accidentally omitted from the agenda on 7/22 this year. Paper are in order, fees are paid, all back taxes and anything else that she owed for the city. I believe you got that, Commissioner Darwin, the copies of that.
I did.
Okay. Is Ms. Mercado on here? We don't have Ms. Mercado on here.
I would
Oh,
ask
we
if
have- we
Lieutenant
have-
Cirillo's here.
We have a raised hand. Who is it? I can't tell who it is.
Looks
That
like
was
Melania
probably
Costa.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably me from the beginning. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Ana Romero. I'm speaking on behalf of Dilenia Costa from Japu Restaurant and just wanted to let you know because I'm translating for her.
You're speaking on behalf of who?
Dilenia Costa from
And
Japu
what-
Restaurant.
From
Okay,
Japu.
no, we're not up to that point yet. We're
Yes, I know. I was just introducing myself in the beginning.
okay. We're just gonna
Okay.
mute you for now. Thank you. Okay, so we don't have Ms. Mercado on this to speak on her behalf. We don't have a lawyer for her, anybody speaking on her behalf? Okay, what's your pleasure with this, Commissioner Darwin?
I would ask through the chair if Lieutenant Cirillo is available. He was going to do some further investigation. Any comments he has on this?
Lieutenant?
Good evening, board commissioners. Again, at the last discussed this, but apparently during the course of some investigation, some issues were raised about the character and fitness of the applicant. I did have chance to meet with her and actually gather some paperwork about the incident in question. I'm still would advise the board that due to that fact of the character and fitness of not only her, but a few of the employees that do work for the business, I would say at this time that we not approve the license for a wine and package store, beer, wine and package store.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant. Seeing and hearing from Lieutenant Cirillo, is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor or against this? Okay, I don't see anyone. Commissioner Darwin, what would you like to do with this?
I will make a motion to deny the license.
Okay, motion to deny the license at this time. I'm going to second that as well. All in favor?
Aye,
Okay, roll call. Commissioner Darwin,
yes.
the chair votes yes. So we're going to deny that at this time. Actually, I have to go back one. I skipped over a tabled matter, application for temporary common vic license. With no alteration of premises for Hayes Tavern, 167 South Union Street. I'm sorry about that, I just missed it. This was tabled pending more information and time for review. Believe the person is Daniel Laratonda, and I see that he's on here. Let's see, should we unmute him?
Hello.
We have a couple of questions for you, sir, regarding your bar.
Yes.
First question I have is, do you have a full kitchen to be able to serve on
Yes.
food served on premise?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you do. Okay, do we have a plan for that with the city inspectors?
Yeah, we talked to Felix Garcia, and he approved it. and we sent the menu in. I sent Kate over all the information. So we do.
You do. Okay. Kate, Commissioner Dowan, do you have all that information?
Yes, he sent me the menu. Let me pull it up because I hadn't received anything from Inspectional Services. He said he had sent it to them. I think Felix is on too and can also confirm. Let me pull up what Dan emailed me for last week's meeting.
Okay, well, let me go back and just ask you, Mr. Laratonda, the food all gonna be prepared on site
Yes, sir.
and it's gonna be prepared to order?
Yes.
Okay, and can you just give me a quick review of what your menu is?
We had a menu on the menu. We had pizza. We had hot dogs. We had two or three wrap sandwiches. We had 6 or 7 items.
7 items?
Yep.
What does constitute a kitchen for you?
Excuse me?
What constitutes a kitchen for you?
We have a stove. We have a refrigerator. We have coolers. We have a prep area. And Felix Garcia inspected it and approved everything.
Okay, Dr. Garcia?
So,
Can I just go, excuse me, I just want to go Inspector Garcia so he can clarify this.
So I went to the establishment. So he has he's getting a hot dog roller, has a little pizza oven. So he does have a kitchen where he prepares on site.
It prepares on site.
Right.
Okay.
so I had the same question because Dan sent me the information, but the menu has, pizza, hot dogs, but is the pizza frozen pizza that you're reheating? I mean,
I'm gonna
you
cook my own pizza.
have meat
I'm gonna cook it from
pizza.
scratch. Yeah, I'm probably gonna scratch the meat pie. I'm gonna do pizza. I'm gonna do 3 different kind of wrap sandwiches, and we'll make hot dogs. I don't have the menu in front of me, but that's pretty much it. We'll probably have daily specials too. Made on
Okay,
site.
so the meat pies are going, and the pizza, you had cheese and pepperoni slices. Was that pizza that
Correct.
you purchased and you were going to heat as they ordered
No,
it? Or was it being
I
prepared
planned,
there?
I was gonna do that originally, but I've decided to make it from scratch, and we have a warming tray and so forth. So we'll cook a pizza daily.
In a warming tray?
No, we have a warming tray, but we'll cook it in an oven. And
Oh.
we have for slices. We have a place we can put it in. We'll keep it warm. A pizza warming tray.
Okay, so your oven is a full-size oven?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Does anyone have questions for this? Any of the inspectors, Lieutenant Cirillo, Captain Delaney, anyone have any questions? Mr.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, this is Captain Delaney.
How you doing?
I know they have a hood over there. Has the hood been inspected?
It
And
was
the
inspected
stove-
this week, sir.
Okay, and the stove in question, is that a residential stove or is that a commercial?
Residential. Residential.
It's a residential stove?
Yes, sir.
It's okay, the fire department hasn't really done an inspection here, but it's a residential stove maybe being used in a commercial application. So that's something that we may have to check.
Tell me what the answer is.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Okay, Lieutenant Cirillo, do you have any questions?
No, again, as you know, commissioners, we did do some inspections of some locations last week. And we did find a few locations that weren't following the proper guidelines. So again, before we approve this, I want to just make sure that, Mr. Letourneau knows, what the guidelines are. And that, people can't be walking around. They have to be served. There has to be waitresses taking their orders. And again, it just can't be operating under the guise of a bar room or a bar. As much as we want everybody to open, those certainly have to be followed. People have to be going into the establishment to buy or order food. It's not to go in and play Keno. It's not to go in and drink beers socially. So I just want to make sure that up front, everybody is on the same page, so we don't have a reoccurrence of what we had after approving some of these licenses.
Do you understand that, Mr. Laratondo?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. My concern right now is still with the stove, as Captain Delaney said, it's a residential stove, not a commercial stove. And I think we're gonna have to have the fire department inspect that prior to your approval. So I'm gonna actually make a motion to table this till after it has been inspected. And then at that time, if it meets the regulations that are required, then we can move forward with this and hopefully be able to settle all this and you can open your doors. But I'm very skeptical about opening anything right now and then closing again because of violations. So I'm gonna make a motion that we table this until after the inspection and make sure that it meets the requirements that are stated here. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got, we're gonna make a motion. We got a second on it. All in favor?
Aye,
Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
yes,
and the chair says yes. So we're gonna table that until there's a fire department inspection. We don't want to be backtracking once again. And sorry for the inconvenience, sir, but we're just trying to make sure that we're doing everything the proper way.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you for your time.
thank you. Moving into new business. Transfer of section 15 all alcohol retail package store license. Change of manager, pledge of license, and pledge of inventory for 260 Jackson Street. Amalfi Liquors LLC is purchasing business assets and all alcohol retail license owned by, the name is too long for me to say, but a corporation.
Yep.
We've discussed this, all the paperwork is in order, all stock and transfer licenses have been updated, and I believe we're ready to move on this.
Well, I do just want to inspect to make sure that I don't residential store, whatever, with the finish store.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we're gonna second that to grant this liquor license transfer. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Okay, roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
yes,
and the chair says yes, so that is approved. And we're gonna move on to application for amendment to change or alter our premises. Japu Restaurant at 4 Union Street. This is currently an alcohol licensed restaurant. The license has space for 2,275 square feet and is looking to add a second storage area of 161 square feet at the rear of the establishment door for alcohol products. Does anyone wish to speak on that? Okay, we had discussed this prior to, and I think everything checked out. We had looked at the blueprints on this, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve this application for extension of storage space.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
yes,
and the chair says yes. Okay, we're moving on now to application for used car retail license for Extreme Auto Detailing at 644 Essex Street. This license was formerly owned by Jose Vargas. The new applicant is Elvis Ortega. They plan on keeping the same name. Incorporation papers were filed with the Secretary of State. Mr. Ortega did not attend the last meeting on 7/22, but he has been notified of this meeting. We've already discussed this. Is there anyone, Mr. Ortega, online?
Okay, as we've already told you, boycotts are the big story in the NBA.
All right.
Hi, I'm present. Elvis Ortega.
You're Mr. Ortega?
Yes,
Okay, so all your paperwork in order and what type of business is this again?
it's auto detailing.
Auto detailing?
Yes,
And you've already paid all your license fees and everything?
yes.
Okay. I think this one was Lieutenant Cirillo, would you care to speak on it, Captain Delaney?
I'd just like to weigh in on this one little bit. I mean, I'm not against obviously issuing the license to this applicant, but a lot of these auto detailing spots become hangouts. I know that he knows that he can't have people hanging around. There's no loud music while detailing the vehicles. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page moving forward. Besides that, I don't have anything. I wish the gentleman luck in his business.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna make a motion to approve this. We've already discussed this at the last meeting. If I can get a second on this.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye. I get a roll call. Commissioner Darwin,
yes,
and the chair says yes. Good luck with your business, and hopefully we don't have to hear anything negative.
You're not gonna hear it.
Oh, great.
Thank
You
you.
have a good day. Thank you. Okay, now we got.
I am present. I'm sorry, I'm Nelly Mercado from Ebony Market. I had trouble logging in, but I'm present.
okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay. We've already moved on this. We actually denied the application at this time. There was some questions on some of the things going on, and none of them had to do with e-taxes and that. Lieutenant Cirillo spoke on background checking that. And at this time, and it also included some of the people who work there. Lieutenant, could you just address that again? Mrs. Sorry, I can't find your name here.
Mercado.
Mercado.
Mercado. Ms. Mercado's on the line. If you can just.
Sure.
update.
Good evening. Good evening again, commissioners and Ms. Mercado. I had happens to meet an interview. We had an interview with Ms. Mercado at her establishment. She's a very nice lady. She produced in all the documentation was very cooperative. Unfortunately, this was a incident that took place without getting into the incident that took place somewhere around 2016. It was actually eventually decided in 2018 with no charges against her filed, but it did involve some things that went against her character and fitness of some of the employees that worked there. For that reason, at this time, I would advise the board not to grant the license, and that's kind of where we are right now. And again, like I said, she can appeal that decision to the ABCC in Boston, but it would be my advice to the board due to character and fitness not to approve the license.
Ms. Mercado, we had already made a motion to deny and was seconded and voted on by both members that are present. So at this time, we are denying the application for wine and beverage.
Is this something that can be continued?
You can appeal it to the Alcohol Beverage Commission out of Boston.
Okay.
So you can file for an appeal to our decision here.
Okay, well, thank you to everybody on the board, and thank you to Mr. Cirillo. He was very nice. And like he said, there's things that happen not directly involving me, but people that were around me or are around me. So I completely understand. I appreciate the opportunity, and you guys have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you and good luck. Okay, we're bringing up Chaos Lodge Lounge, 596 Essex Street. Approval of license issue on July 22nd under review. Possible revocation due to updated guidelines issued by the Governor Baker on August 7th. And this is actually going to pertain to the Gateway and Concordia as well. When the governor last announced, he came up with regulations. And one of the things that he stated is that all meals will be made on premise. And it's not our place here to try and change the rules. We're only here to enforce the rules. And prepping food on premise is one of the guidelines that he has. Having a kitchen on premise is one of the guidelines, or a food truck or something on premise. It cannot be brought in from the outside and sold and as being on premise. It has to be prepared and served on premise. And it has to be brought to the table by a waiter or waitress or the bartender. It has to be served. So under these, we are going to be rescinding. And if anybody wishes to speak on this, we're going to start with Chaos, and they can present their case. And then we can move on to the other two. But I wanted to make that clear that this is not something that this board wrote up. This comes from the state, from the governor, and we're just following the state guidelines. So if anyone from Chaos would like to speak on it, you can do so now.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. On behalf of Chaos Lounge and Father and Son Enterprises, my name is Attorney Perry Beltray, and I understand that you seem to be speaking in the affirmative as if it's a done deal, but I would just like to state that the language of the governor, I would think that Chaos is different. The food is, we define it as being prepared on premises. Arismendi is 592 Essex and Chaos is 596 Essex. The full complete kitchen is within 4 feet of the garden. It is food that is served by waitresses, by bartenders. And again, it's within 4 feet of the garden. There's only about 26 people that are served. This is a collaborative business arrangement. In the last few weeks, they've been closed on Sundays due to rain. There's been absolutely no abuse. I think that Lieutenant Cerullo has been able to observe himself that everyone has been eating full meals. We're not talking about potato chips or just even apps. We're talking about people sitting down, having full meals. No one's been getting, bottle service and drinking in obscene numbers. In fact, I think we could argue that Arismendi is the one in making more money out of this deal because all they're trying to do is survive. And we would state that based on the actual restrictions that were clarified on August 7th, alcohol beverages, cocktails, maybe a bottle of Spumante or Prosecco that have been served were accompanied by food prepared on site, again, within 4 feet of the table service outdoors. Prepared to order. He does have a retail food permit that was applied for and obtained by the city. They're not masquerading as a restaurant. They're not a club, they're not a bar. They've only been asked to do this for the few weeks left of the good weather that's available. Now we're on the 26th of August. We'll be lucky if we get 3 to 4 weeks more. Again, we're trying to maintain a collaborative business effort for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And all we've been doing is presenting and humbly requesting that we get this opportunity for another 3 to 4 weeks. And we do believe that based on the narrowed and reduced parameters that were clarified by the governor, that we are totally within those guidelines, and we have not at all even gotten close to abusing that, because it's sit down, it's outside, it's a few number of people. Any takeout food goes to Arismendi next door. People are eating, they're sitting down. Again, we have not abused anything as far as inside. We've had to close because it's rained As you guys know, we've had really hard rains on the last 3 Sundays of the last couple of weeks. Again, food is prepared on site, and we just need the opportunity to survive the next 3 to 4 weeks. And we do think that without comparing any other businesses, we are within the parameters of the newly narrowed definition of prepared on site. This is a collaborative effort with a next door neighbor. And the commission may even recall when Arismendi obtained their liquor license. Arismendi asked Chaos Lounge before even applying for their liquor license and said, look, we don't want to compete with you guys. We just want wine and malt. I know you guys have a full liquor license. Are you guys on board with this? We signed a letter, prepared a letter, and gave them our full support because we want to be collaborative. We want all businesses to survive and do well. And so when it was this opportunity, they came on board as well because they want to be able to make some money and survive during this pandemic. And we have done everything we can. And I think that this situation is different. Again, it is within 4 feet. Their full kitchen is within 4 feet of the backyard. It could be argued the alternative, commissioners. It could be Arismendi requesting the use of Chaos's garden. And so I don't see why under those particular facts that our permission should be rescinded here. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask 2 people to speak on this, one being Lieutenant Cirillo and one being the city attorney, Mr. Hooton. And I'm going to start with Lieutenant Cirillo on his legal opinion as far as law enforcement.
Good evening again, commissioners. So I've had frequent to go to this establishment and do a couple of compliance checks. I can tell you that they are doing a fabulous job. They're hustling from the restaurant next door back and forth. Everybody was seated. Everybody had food. It was well run. They were complying with the guidelines. That being said, I was on a call, and I don't know if Director Romano is with us tonight, but we were both on a call today with DPH, the Public of Health, Department of Health, and we spoke with them today. And I brought up the fact that Chaos was going, a door down or, just a couple storefronts down to get the food and bring it back to the location. And again, that to them did not fit the guidelines of the governor's order. Again, I know there's all kinds of different guidelines, and as crazy as it might be, but that is not being prepared on site. That being said, they're certainly not masquerading as a nightclub. They're certainly not masquerading as a bar, as we've seen in other places that we visited. They are trying to do their best to serve drinks as well as, food. And they're acting, I believe, as a restaurant. But unfortunately, if you go by the governor's order, the food is not prepared on site. Now, I know people have raised the question that what's the difference between putting a food truck out there that could be further away? Again, I don't know why they said, the governor's order says, or the guideline says you can have a food truck outside and you can't walk 2 doors down to get the food. But for whatever reason, that is the guidelines. I would defer to, I know Tim Hooton, the city attorney's on. He did write some guidelines. I don't have the legal opinion that he does, so I would defer to him as far as the legal opinion. But I would just say to the board that they are not masquerading as a bar or a nightclub. They are doing the right thing. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem that it's complying with the guidelines.
Thank you. Go ahead, Attorney Hooton.
Thank you, Chairman. Attorney Belcher, one of the things that I'm a little bit worried about is that even if this, again, I feel your pain. I understand that you are, and everybody here feels like that you're living to the letter of the law. The problem is that according to the governor's rules, it doesn't apply. If your next door neighbor didn't have a liquor license, I would suggest maybe you could have done an easement where there'd be an ownership interest or a right to travel over there. But I think the ABCC isn't going to allow that with 2 liquor licenses. The other problem that I anticipate, and again, the one thing and I think the commissioner said earlier, we don't want to do is approve something and have you ramp up and then close. My understanding is that this weekend, the ABCC is coming to town. The ABCC, in all likelihood, what we're doing right now is we're taking away your ability to open for not complying with COVID. I don't think you want the ABCC to pull your liquor license. That's what they will do. So I think that the chance you take, even if we were to approve, is too great, because then you now have on your record as the ABCC and having a hearing that they're going to pull the license because you haven't complied with COVID. We're not pulling licenses. We're just saying you can keep your license. We just can't let you open because you haven't complied with COVID. And I understand you are unfortunately the bad case that every law anticipates. It's you've complied. Everybody says great things about you, but you under the governor's guidelines, you don't fit in as being allowed to open.
So I just want to clarify for the benefit of Chaos Lounge that's on today, that you're saying that ABCC is likely to be in Lawrence this weekend, and they are going to take a more literal translation of the governor's ruling. And because it's not prepared on site, they may very well issue violations if you were to grant us a more lenient permission to continue to work, to run and operate.
Right. As the city, we grant you many licenses. We grant you a common vic. We grant you many. So we're saying, like, we're just not going to allow you to open. The ABCC is limited to liquor. That's what they do. So they can't just say, okay, you can't serve food anymore. They have only one power, and that's to pull your license or suspend your license. And I just don't want to see that happen. Like I said, you seem like it seems like a very nice business. You seem to really have tried, but I just worry that, I mean, by the technical, and we hate that it's so technical. I hate that it's so fine-tuned. You don't comply.
Well, thank you for your time, commissioners. Thank you for your time, Attorney Hooton, and thank you, Lieutenant Cirillo, for the kind words.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go one by one on, actually, we're going to start with Chaos. I'm going to make a motion that we ask the police department to issue a cease on premises serving any type of food or alcohol for the remainder of the stage 3 or until stage 4 comes around and the governor changes the law. You know, so I would really hate to do that. I don't want to see any businesses suffer, but we're just following the guidance of the governor on this. So I'm going to make a motion that we not allow this business to reopen at this time.
Sadly, I will second that motion because I've also heard from Lieutenant Cirillo what a fantastic job Chaos has been doing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
Yes.
and the chair says yes. So we will be moving on that with Lieutenant Cirillo to cease operations at that location. We're going to move on to the Gateway Pub, 339 Merrimack Street, regarding their violations and non-compliance with the state orders of COVID-19 and regarding the operation of restaurants. Is anyone here from the Gateway Pub?
Yes, I am present. Amy Wenzel-Millman.
Okay, you can speak at this time.
I fully understand the governor's orders and that they were carried out as they should be. I don't agree with how it was carried out. The manner in which it was conducted, I thought was unnecessary, but this is probably not the place to discuss it. I do fully understand, and I would like to ask a question if I can.
Go right ahead.
Okay, it did come up this evening, and it has come up to me several times in the last week about the possibility of engaging with a food truck, and I was wondering if that is something that you would consider, and if it is something that can be done, would I need to go through a whole process with you, with this board, to get that approved?
I would actually go to Captain Delaney on this. I believe they're the ones that deal with the food trucks and licensing issues with the food service. Captain Delaney, you still on?
Yes, I'd defer to inspectional services on this question.
Okay. Mr. Amano?
Yes, sir. I would, I don't want to keep deferring, but I'm going to defer to you, the board. I think the question here is really how you're interpreting what a kitchen is. That's what started this conversation. I'm going to stand by what I've said in the beginning. There's some ambiguous definitions of what a kitchen is. Obviously, everything has changed with this public health crisis. But for purposes of this case, I think the real question is, do you consider this a kitchen? And if you do, then it would be up to you, the board, to allow this to continue in operation.
Okay, legally, I don't know where we stand here, so I'm going to let Mr. Hooton speak on this.
Ralph, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
I just want to remind everybody that, again, we're all talking about millimeters here.
Yep.
With a food truck, it has to be on your premises.
Right.
Much like the other place, you couldn't put a food truck next building over because Chaos obviously is in great compliance, but they're not on the same property. If you were to put the food truck, you couldn't put it on your neighbor's property. The food truck has to be on your property. That's what makes the difference. So the devil's in the details. I think if you talk to Mr. Romano or talk to any of the board, I think they will assist. Again, their purpose is to help you comply, not help you not comply.
Okay, Commissioner Darwin, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I spoke to Ralph Sacramone, who's the executive director of ABCC, and asked that question because I know some places, Gateway being one of them, has the room. He specifically said a food truck would be acceptable, provided, as Attorney Hooton has just told us, it must be physically on their property. It can't be on the street or at a business next door. It must remain on the property, and it must be in full compliance with all the guidelines itself. So based on that, he said it would be acceptable as food prepared on site. They have to be in full compliance with all the guidelines of, the restaurant food truck, and they must be on the property for the entire duration.
Thank you. I know there was a couple of issues besides the food at the Gateway, because I was there along with Lieutenant Cirillo and Commissioner Darwin, and it wasn't just about the food. It was about the service of alcoholic beverages. Too much alcohol, hardly any food. And that was the biggest complaint that, as soon as we walk in and you got a dozen people sitting there and no food other than one person. And that was my personal observation. And then multiple people going up to the bar and ordering drinks, 2 drinks at a time. That actually goes against the rules and regulations of table service. So that was another issue there. I think it's something that if we move with granting food trucks, it needs to be addressed. And you're going to have to figure out a way to get their alcoholic beverage, get their food without them wandering up to the bar and ordering themselves and walking around with open containers. That's a big issue with crowding and the COVID. And that's one of the things that the governor is definitely taking a look at. So I wouldn't move on the food truck issue without the fire department inspecting the trucks and making sure that they are compliant, first of all, because we don't need a food truck sitting next to a building with propane and something goes wrong. And now instead of just one truck, now you also have a business in trouble. So now, so they would have to be in compliant with all rules and regulations of what the city requires of a food truck. So.
I think the other observation we observed was also that folks, even if they did order pizza or something to eat, when they arrived, they were there for 4 and 5 hours with no additional food, but yet they were having additional drinks.
Can I ask how you would know how the length of time that somebody was there?
We looked at the POS at all the places that we visited.
Okay, I would be shocked
We'd look
if
at
that was
the
the case. I'd
tab.
have to
We'd
look
look at
down.
the tab. Pardon me?
Okay, I'd be shocked if that was the case, but I'll have to look back through the POS.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, should I even look into the food truck, or is that just going to be a waste of time? Because I'd like to know if you plan on considering it or if you've already made a decision. I guess that's what I'm trying to get out of this meeting.
I don't think I've made a decision. I think as myself and the chair have indicated what we observed, those things can't happen. So if someone's intent is to come and get food, the pizza or the subs that were prepared, or from a food truck, and have a drink, that would be fine. But if their plan is to come get something from the food truck and then sit there for 5 or 6 hours and drink, that's clearly not the intent of what this is supposed to be. So I'm very open to, if you can work it out with a food truck and ensure that no one can come to the bar and get a drink. You have to have a waitress, or the bartender has to go take their order, prepare a drink, and return it. That, again, as the chair said, we didn't make these rules. Those are the rules. No one can come up and order a drink. They must be served by a waitress or a server.
Right, I understand that, and I guess what I would be doing would be looking to reinvent. You know, I would have to change our service plan as far as having 2 employees on, partnering with a food truck, and I'm not sure if John is still on the line, but I was speaking with John from Spicket River Brewery as possibly partnering with. Again, I don't want to take up a lot of your time tonight in going into details on something that may or may not even happen. I just wondered if it is something that the board would be open to if I wanted to look into it.
I certainly would be in favor of something like that happening. Like I said again, there just needs to be some changes as far as the service and the limit on the amount of alcohol after being served the meals. Sitting there for 4 hours, which we did witness that. Everything's timestamped these days, especially when it's computerized, so it's very easily able to read the receipts and see that it was 4 hours of service with 1 slice of pizza between 2 people.
I have to say, I'm going to look into that. I'm very shocked, but I haven't seen that anywhere, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I have not seen that anywhere in the governor's guidelines that there's a limit of time that you can stay at any restaurant. Is that correct? Any restaurant in the Commonwealth, there's a minimum or a maximum that you're allowed to stay?
Not up to my understanding either. But drinking for 4 hours is pretty much just going out to a bar.
I agree. Again, I'll have to check my records. I'd be shocked if that is the case. But I'm surprised that that's been brought up twice because I was not aware of it. And again, I haven't seen anywhere that there was listed or that in the guidelines there was a maximum time.
Okay.
So I just heard that other places are being checked as well.
Lieutenant Cirillo, would you like to jump in there and say anything?
I think it was actually brought up by the bartender at the time that they had been there for a while and they had audited. I don't remember exactly what was on their bill, but I know that was definitely an issue. And again, I don't know anything in the order that's, I agree with Amy, I don't know anything in the order that says specifically how much time you have to be there, but it certainly says, a bar masquerading as a restaurant. And again, when, like we observe people going up to put their Keno order in, people going up to order drinks at the bar. We specifically got together with ISD. ISD made signs that everybody needs to be seated and everybody needs to order food, and can't be roaming around, again, ordering drinks or going up to get your drinks or going up to get your Keno. So again, that was just some of the things that we observed. She certainly had food on site, which she did. Again, we can get into the discussion of no kitchen, prepared on site. Her food wasn't, she had food there. She wasn't making the food on site. It was brought in from another location. So again, there's different variations that you can look at this, but I agree with you. There was more issues that were going on than just the serving of the food.
All right, thank you. At this time, we've all spoken on this both ways. I would move to table this, so that way you can, actually, maybe not even, let's move to deny it this time, actually, to be fair to the other businesses. And then if you can get a food truck agreement or contract, whatever it is, with Spigot River Brewery, then you can readdress the board and we can look at the plan. We do meet in a couple more weeks, and then we can move forward from there.
So I could speak at the next meeting. Is that how it would work?
I would say, because you would have a plan, if you can present that plan in its proper form with the food court and that, food truck rather, then I would believe that then we can just, within 48 hours of us posting it, we'd be able to speak on it. I would bring it up myself as long as the plan meets all the specifications. But at this time, I would move to make a motion to deny your reopening until there's a proper plan in place with a contract and food service on premise.
So.
Well, thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just
No,
going
go
to say
ahead, Amy.
thank you for your time, and I understand this hasn't been easy for anyone, and I need to put some serious thought into whether I can do this and do it correctly. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, motion to deny.
I just have a quick question for Attorney Houghton. Should we deny? I don't think this was a request to reopen, or just continue this until the next meeting and see if she presents a different plan.
Well, if I just may make a point, I think the language you used, Chair, was rescinding what was given to us back in the last meeting for.
Yes, it was. You're correct. All right, so I'll use that term, motion to rescind.
Right, but Chaos was still open. Gateway isn't. They're sort of different.
Attorney Houghton?
A motion to continue your order of the other day, shutting them down.
Okay.
So that would be the proper term. Motion to continue?
Motion to
continue then.
Okay, I'll second that motion to continue.
All in favor, motion to continue?
Aye.
Aye.
Again, so it's
roll
just
call.
not continue the hearing, continue the shutdown.
Continue to shut down. Commissioner Darwin, motion to continue the shutdown.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call, Commissioner Darwin.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, so we will put that down, and we're gonna move on to the Concordia Social Club. Is anyone on the line for Concordia?
I think Dave was on.
Okay, Concordia.
He's muted.
Okay, we're
You're
asking.
mute off.
from you.
Carlos Elias.
How you doing, Carlos?
I'm good.
So you've just heard the whole discussion with Gateway, and you're in the same, we're in the same boat, basically. We asked the club to close for not complying with the state orders of food service, on-premise food service. So we did pay your establishment a visit. There were multiple things that we saw there. At the time, there was no customers. One customer was leaving. They were ready to close the doors. There was no 6 feet distance at all. All the chairs were right up against the bar and with a table in between. But every chair was back to back. The food was prepared offsite and just warmed up in a warming oven or microwave or whatever it was. It was, I believe, just 4 food items on there. But it did not meet the state standards for opening as a restaurant as we saw it that night. The service, I can't tell you about the alcohol or anything because we did not witness any of that. What we did see is no spacing, no 6 feet in between tables or chairs. The food was all outside vendor food, nothing prepared on site as we can see. And that's why we chose to close your establishment that night. And now you can address the board if you like. And
Well, I would like to say, you know, we are one of the oldest clubs in the city, and we're not open to the public. It's members only, and we're a small group. We don't have any more than 8 people in there at a time, and we've been serving Napoli's pizza and meat pies for years. Felix Garcia told me they were grandfathering for that. We should have a historical status on that. We're not open to the public. I'd just like to see what you have to say about that.
yeah, I understand. I understand you're one of the oldest clubs in the city. But I don't think the governor distinguished between a private club and a public club. He stated bars, and bars for phase 4. I'll let the attorney come in on this, Mr. Hooton, if you could address this.
The rules apply whether you're public or private. As a matter of fact, you know, some of the private establishments have attempted to have weddings and groups together. It just doesn't work. You have to comply with the rules whether you're private or public. If you have 6 people and they all sit in a cluster, that's a violation. If you have 2 people and they're sitting in a cluster and they're unrelated, it's a violation. A violation is a violation whether you're public or private. The fact that you aren't a restaurant, they're not. The Concordia is a great club. It's not a restaurant, and this is for restaurants to open.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Well, we were in desperate need. You guys had a shutdown for 4 months. I borrowed $5,500 to keep this club going. And then I see a website, the city got $1.2 million to distribute it. I applied for it and I was denied right away. Can you explain that to me?
I can't explain that to you. That has nothing to do with me. Any type of small business loans and that, and I know the city does have one, it does not go through our board. Our board deals with the current rules and regulations that the governor sets forth. And the governor did not distinguish between the difference of private and public, and that I do understand. And
You do understand that we're going to go bankrupt. That we're really going to be able to stay open.
Unfortunately, I do understand it, and the last thing
There's nothing the city has done to help us, though. That's the problem.
That you would
All
have
our small businesses are hurting. There's nobody helping us. There's nobody helping us.
Yeah, and that's not with us. We can't.
I'm frustrated. I'm sorry, but I'm frustrated over this.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can to keep this place going, and there's rules and rules and rules. And
No sense.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I mean, all I can say is I'm sorry. And other than reaching out directly to the mayor and his office staff to try and help get that small business loan, we can't help you from our end. We have to enforce what the governor laid down as the rules and regulations. That's our job.
I understand.
It's a tough job to do these days because more people than you know are in your situation.
I sympathize with you guys. I understand.
Yeah, and we're caught in the middle between what we would like to do and what the state wants us to do. So we're caught in the middle, and we need to do what we're put on these boards for. and we sympathize with you, and we're hoping that somehow things come around quicker than they do, and people can get back to doing what they want to do, and that's having a livelihood. And unfortunately,
Thank you, sir.
we're the
Thank you.
bad guys
Appreciate
right now, and we don't want to be. Anybody else wish to
I
speak on this?
understand.
Okay, so we're gonna take the same step as we did with the Gateway Pub. And that is to, how do we put that, Attorney?
We're going to continue
Continue the shutdown.
the shutdown.
Okay, so we're gonna make a motion to continue shutdown until the state changes their regulations, whatever else comes forward. We don't know that the governor changes from week to week, it seems. So I'm gonna
I'll
make a
second.
motion, we get a second. All in favor?
Aye,
Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
yes.
and the chair votes yes. And I'm sorry, and I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully things come around quicker than, we expect. That's all we can do right now. But if I were you, I'd really reach out to the mayor's office directly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna, let's see, I think I got something here.
Next
My
meeting.
thing was like, why can't these guys, with all of this meetings, right? Why
Uh,
don't they give
let's
feedback
move.
to them? I don't care.
I'm gonna mute here.
Yeah.
Okay, and we don't have anything else on the agenda right now. Do we have anybody? I don't see anybody asking to speak in that. Okay, we're gonna move on to scheduling of the next meeting. This was a hard meeting for everybody involved, and not what I want to do up here, unfortunately, but we have to follow the law, so.
Commissioner, I did have a very quick question. If we were to come up with another creative alternative, is there a way to present it to the board and perhaps get an earlier meeting?
Right now, we are scheduled for the second and, is it the second and fourth Tuesday of the month? Is
Yeah.
scheduled.
Second and fourth Wednesday, typically.
Second and fourth Wednesday, excuse me. Second and fourth Wednesday of the month, we're scheduled for that. Unless there's something extreme and, really out there, we
I think
can,
September 9th actually works in case we come up with something extremely creative.
yeah. And I hope everybody does get creative, and I hope everybody opens up.
All right, thank
Right
you.
now, yeah, right now, it looks like September 9th would be our next meeting, and maybe we have some better news on September 9th for everybody. So we're gonna schedule for September 9th. Is that all right, Commissioner Darwin?
Yep. that's
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah,
Make a motion to adjourn.
okay, and I'm gonna second that. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Roll call, Commissioner Darwin,
yes.
and the chair votes yes, and this meeting is adjourned. Good luck, everybody, and have a good night. Thank you for.
Stay healthy, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Where's my Zoom?